All right, hello everybody. Welcome to the first episode of the GameFi Chat. My name is Justin, aka Justin the Mind, and we have a brand new series here that we're just starting. And the purpose of this series actually is we want to talk and chat with some founders and some builders here in the GameFi space. And the first person that we're going to be chatting with today is actually Nathan from Ancient8. He's a co-founder. And Nathan is going to be talking to us a little bit more about eSports in the GameFi sector, and going to be telling us a little bit more about how the space is going, the direction that it's going, and give us a little bit more insight about that. So Nathan, if you wouldn't mind just introducing yourself, tell us a little bit about your background and how you got here to Ancient8, and then we'll dive into some questions with you.
Yeah, really nice to meet you guys. Yeah, it's a pleasure for me to be in the first episode of the whole GameFi. It's really fun to be here and to chat about esports and GameFi, as well as what is the direction coming forward for esports in the whole and esports and GameFi specifically. So yeah, my name is Nathan. I'm one co-founder at Ancient8, currently leading the Ancient8 esports side. I started to just be a gamer. I played game when I was in elementary school. I started with FIFA, and in 2018 I turned into pro FIFA gaming for 1 year, and then I understand about how the esports sector look like, and right now heading the Ancient8 esports side. Thanks.
Very cool. Can you tell me just a little bit more about FIFA? How far into that journey did you get? Did you actually compete at a pro level, and did you compete as a single player, a solo player, or with a team?
Yeah, so actually I started FIFA with FIFA 2005. It was basically the time in Vietnam there were CDs and DVD copies that I just bought it from the store and just get back to my house and just find out the ways to actually download the game, install the game, and sometimes crack the game also as well. So from FIFA 2005 until even this year, FIFA 22, I haven't missed any year of FIFA. And in FIFA 2018, which was also the year of World Cup, 2018 Russia, I joined and participated in some tournaments and won one of the biggest tournament at that time.
Wow.
That was just 1 year being a pro player. And then after that, I think I should focus more on other sides than just playing the game all the time. So I switched to more of besides FIFA, I also play a lot of other games like League of Legends, sometimes PUBG, sometimes other FPS game for sure.
Cool. And how did you get to Ancient8? How did you get to the point of becoming the co-founder of this company and starting to work on the esports side of this company?
Yeah, so the journey started for me was about last year November when we at Ancient8 started the first ever X-Infinity VN Championship. At that time there were 16 players, and the total prize pool was 200 XS, which was pretty huge at that time. It was 30K if I remember correctly. So after the tournament we gained a lot of tractions, especially in the finals. I remember we have about 3K concurrent viewers at the same time. So I started to see that, okay, so esports and GameFi is something that we should take a look about.
Right.
The growth of esports and GameFi is also something that we should consider. Really, nice to see. And started my journey back then, and it was a fun journey, and I think we'll look forward to see what happens in the next few years.
Very cool. And how has the team been performing from the beginning until now, the Ancient8 eSports team? How have you guys been performing? How have you been developing your team along the way?
Okay, so team-wise, we focus mostly in Ancient8, of course. We started forming the team like right after the tournament, November last year. We have some of the top tier players like Pam, like Tomo3. We started to also looking at some top performance scholars from Ancient8, also in Vietnam, to actually join the team. Right now we have about like 6 to 8 team members for Ancient8, and they are playing hard for 2 sectors. First in tournaments, and second in the leaderboard climbing. And if you can check the Ancient8 leaderboard, you always see Ancient8 somewhere over there. Sometimes top 1, sometimes top 10.
Yeah.
But yeah, in top 100, there will definitely be at least one Ancient8.
That's amazing. That's amazing because it's very, very difficult. If anybody has ever played competitively in esports, it's a worldwide game, right? You're not just competing in Vietnam, you're competing against the world. So to be ranked in the top 10 of the entire world is absolutely amazing. So congratulations on your success with that. Let me ask you, how is esports developing in Axie Infinity overall? Do you guys see some pretty big growth from when it first started? Are the championship series, having higher stakes than in the earlier times of the game? How is the growth for esports in Axie?
Yeah, so Axie Infinity actually, like you guys all know about the switch from like PvE to more focused heavily on PvP in tournaments. Yeah, just like a few months ago that they started. So what I really like about Axie that they actually like introduced a new concept of what we call D-Sport, which is decentralized esport.
Okay.
So basically like they granted out like 7,500 access to community organizers. I remember it was about like 50 of them to organize tournament in different regions across the world. And each region, they will have about like 100 to 150 access in prize pool. So basically like this move makes me think about like, okay, so for the future GameFi games, they can actually like follow the D-Sport model to actually like attract more users, more players, especially more competitive players from different regions as well. And the Axie eSport world is pretty, I would say, still like a small world because like the players will all know each other. It's similar to like the competitive players from the Web2 esports space. For example, let's say League of Legends players, definitely like they know each other a lot because like they competing each other like just all the time, creating like rivalry, stuff like that, which is really fun inside the game. And Axie right now, they still have about like, if I remember correctly, about like 600 to 700K daily active users, which is still a huge number to think about. Yeah, so the competitiveness in the game is over there. And yeah, they are developing Origin very soon, V3. Yeah, so in V3, they are focusing a lot on the competitiveness side. Focusing on doing tournaments, esports side of things to maintain the game and actually attract more players.
And let me ask you, in terms of the different versions that Axie has, do you find that as like really a new challenge in esports, right? Because usually you get a game and you get to learn the game, you get to learn kind of the meta or the better ways to strategize and play when you're a competitive player. Do you find it even more challenging when the game is consistently changing and the meta is changing? And do you feel that it kind of makes it tougher for you guys to stay at the top when you're competing in tournaments?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I love the fact that meta is changing day by day. Yeah. And we also love creating meta inside our team. So actually like Pam from our team, besides a top player, he is also one of the meta creator. Basically like just create something new, some new concept, and like it works. And a lot of players just follow the meta. That's what we call. So yeah, I think like those kind of things always create discussion among the team. If you do it alone, individually, it's hard for you. Yeah, because like you have to, do all things alone, just playing, creating things, etc. But if you have a team, you can always have something to chat about, to discuss about, to learn more about a game. And what I love about gaming is basically like the more I play a game or the more we play a game, the more we get to learn about a game. Which means like the knowledge here is basically unlimited. Yeah. So just like constant learning, and those things will create discussion, and that creates the bonding relationship between players, which is good.
Yeah, love that. So tell me, like, what do you think are some of the differences? Because you've experienced both sides. You've experienced the traditional esports gaming world, and now you're building more in the Web3 gaming space. So what are some of like the biggest differences between the traditional esports player versus the more newer esports player from the GameFi space particularly?
Yeah, so when we talk about GameFi, I think like the thing that we listen to a lot of times is play to earn.
Yeah.
It's basically like a lot of players just like coming into space more on the earn side than the play side.
Right.
But I think that will change completely, especially like we see a lot of games coming out this year, a lot more like 100+ games coming out next year. Some of them are really high quality AAA games, etc. We are talking to a lot of them. And we know that games product is not something easy to ship in the short period of time. They need to be developed. Like League of Legends, they need like 4 years to release the beta. Dota, they also need 4 years. So basically, when we see like more games coming out in the future, the higher quality of it, the more play focus of it, the more we see like the competitiveness side of players will become as well. And for the earn side, that is really fun because actually like Web3 games different from traditional games in terms of the ownership things inside the game. So example, if you have a skins, you can actually like sell it, or you have the ownership of it. Basically, if you own a skin in League of Legends, you just cannot sell it to anyone. It violates the rules, right? Or maybe you can sell the accounts, but it also violates the rules. So for the earn side, we see a lot of ways that a player can actually earn besides salary and tournament, competition prize pool. They can actually like play to earn, for example, let's say XC, they can play to earn SLP. They can play to the fight to the top leaderboard to earn access, and also to play in the eSports tournament, which is like having the good prize pool, which creates like all sort of incomes for them. That just like we haven't even mentioned like streaming revenues, advertising revenues, etc. And that is something that we are looking forward in the future, because basically the top players can actually like have their own living, basically just like playing games, and from that they can focus more on playing games and like just don't think about anything else in their life rather than just playing games.
Yeah, that seems to be what's really special about GameFi, is it offers another way that the player can monetize their efforts and their passion for the game. The previous esports world is only for the top players. The earning potential is only for the top players. Where in GameFi, the better earnings are for the top players, of course, but there's still an opportunity for the everyday player to come in and have a chance to play and earn, which is I think what's really the higher growth potential for this market. So let me ask you, do you see pro players from the traditional esports space starting to come into the GameFi space? And what, if not, what do you think the GameFi space needs to do to attract more of those top players?
Yeah, so this is also a great question to think about. The answer for me will be right now both yes and no. Yes would be like we see a lot of pro players from traditional games, especially Hearthstone. Hearthstone is a game which is, I think, quite similar to Axie Infinity Origin V3. And a lot of Hearthstone player that we see just like migrated to become Axie Pro players, playing for some guilds like YGG or BOOZ.GG, however we know. And also like we have been talking to a lot of Web2 esports team, and we also see that they are migrating into Web3 esports. We see Team Secret, we see 100 Thieves, we see Team Flash. We also see like a lot of teams are doing guilds like Damwon, Kia from Korea, and a lot of teams just joining, and the guilds right now here to stay. I would love to see the competitive environment whereby the Web3 esports team competing with the Web2 esports team migrating into Web3, which is really fun. Competitiveness is always fun. And for games right now, I think especially like in the next 6 to 9 months, we'll see a lot of games coming out. And that will be a time when, the Web2 esports team realize that, oh, these games are good. I would love to come here and play the game. So I would just like bring our own esports team, our own esports expertise to actually like join in the game, grind the top leaderboard, or maybe like just win some tournaments playing that game, which create a really abundant environment for Web3 esports, and that's what we are looking for.
I love that. That actually kind of brings me to another question. Are you guys Ancient8? I know that you're participating in sponsored competitions.
Yeah.
Are you guys also hosting your own competitions? And if so, are you only hosting competitions for Axie Infinity tournaments, or do you guys have other games in mind to host tournaments for?
Yep. So far, we hosted mostly Axie Infinity.
Okay.
We actually hosted, as I mentioned before, November last year, Axie Infinity VN Championship. So after that championship, we hosted what we call AACS. It's called Ancient8 Axie Infinity Championship Series. We have been doing 4 series of it. And each series, we want to do it differently from the past. Like the first season was all about solo players. The second is also solo players, but with bigger quantity. The third was about like what we call like the guild worlds, or maybe like the team mode. Basically, like each team will bring on 3 players competing against another 3 players. And yeah, moving forward, definitely we are looking forward to do more tournaments for sure. Not just Axie Infinity, but also for other Web3 games. Besides, if you look into our Discord, you can see that we also do League of Legends tournament just for fun for our scholars.
Yeah.
Which is pretty fun, to be honest. And also creating kind of like a community, playing games together, having things to chat about, having things to roast other people about.
Yes.
That's fun. And that's, something that we want to build, kind of like culture.
Yeah, I love that. Like you guys are kind of taking away this line that is dividing traditional esports and esports and GameFi, rather than drawing a line and saying, you guys stay on this side, we'll stay on this side. Yeah. You're integrating the players together, which I think is what is going to be best for both parties, and really is just going to allow gamers in general to benefit the most. So I wanted to ask you, coming from your background of the games that you played, like League of Legends, what do you think makes a game like that so successful? And what do you think GameFi projects can learn from a game like League of Legends, or any of your favorite traditional esports games? What can these games learn from those projects to bring the success that those projects have had?
Yeah, so what I learned from traditional esport game, especially League of Legends, is the quality of gameplay and the details that they put into the game, which is pretty amazing to talk about. And that's just something that I wanted to see at the next generation of GameFi games, or Web3 games we'll call. If you have like a really good gameplay, then you can actually like build a community around it, build like players who are loyal to the game around it. And if players can come to the game, not just like wanted to earn, wanted to play, and you can see new ways of players coming into crypto as well. So let me give you a number. Like Axie Infinity at the top, they have about like 3 million daily active users at the top. And the huge gaming market is 3 billion gamers. So which is about like 0.1%. Axie Infinity at the top, yeah. So if there's like a game that can actually like attract like just 1% or 2% of the total gaming market, like which is huge, then the success rate of that will become really high. And so gameplay development and esport growth will just like be beneficial from there. Like in 2018, there were about like 4 billion investment into esport and Web2. That's what I think we'll see happen in the next few years for Web3 esports as well. For teams that are participating, and Web2 esports team, they also see that kind of future, the kind of vision, and they're just moving forward to Web3 esports. Yeah, and that's pretty fun to see. Yeah,
I think we've recently seen some news of some of the bigger game development companies starting to move into the space. And as you said, I think we'll just continue to see that as the games develop, and as we kind of move away from the play to earn and start to integrate the more play and earn, where the games become, gameplay focused first. I think the whole industry agrees that that's what needs to happen, and we're seeing that happen. So what do you think are some of the bigger challenges right now for esports with GameFi games? And how, in your opinion, do you think they can go about kind of handling some of those challenges to better the space?
Yep. So I think there are still many challenges that we are seeing in Web3 esport. It is quite similar to Web2 esport in the early days when not a lot of players have access to those kind of games. Right. So what we can solve to actually overcome all of these challenges is to having a great game, or maybe a few great games, whereby the community can actually choose from it to see which game actually suited them. And from that, there will be as I mentioned, loyal community and players who will be attracted to the game, and that would be some kind of fundamental base to grow esport from there. Because esport actually is all about community, and basically if you have a community surrounded it, you will have tournament viewer, you will have people just paying and also buying the merchandise from the games, from developers, or maybe from the esport teams itself as well. So I would say that we really think that will happen at least in the next 1 year. And esport teams in GameFi at this moment, focus on some of the existing GameFi games like Ancient8, as I mentioned. So that's kind of the best move right now. In my opinion.
Yeah, and what do you think that GameFi, what it needs the most right now is esports? Do you think that esports is what can really help kind of put it more on the map as something more than just an investment or a blockchain project, but actually put it on the map as this is a game first? Do you think esports is the kind of the catalyst for that?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think I always think that like this. So the fundamental things here is that if a game wants to go long and go, to have more loyal community players, they must go in the esport route. So basically, if a game just go there and let the people play, and then after that there will be nothing else. There will be no tournaments. There will be no streamers. There will be no advertisement or things like that. I don't think it will sustain that long. So basically, what we have learned from a lot of big games so far, League of Legends, Dota, CSGO, why they sustain, basically because they follow the esport route. League of Legends, they have what we call the World Championship, or maybe called Worlds. For Dota, they have TI, whereby they collect the skins money from revenue from the players to actually contribute to the prize pool and create some a few millions. I remember 10 plus million prize pool each year. For CSGO, it's really big already. We cannot not say about it, right? Yeah, so basically following this route is the best way for games to move forward. And you can see it with Axie. Yeah, Axie, they actually focus a lot on the growth and the development of esport. They have their own esport Twitter. They have their own esport manager, and they did a lot with community. Also, they grinded out what we call the esport program, which is pretty nice to see and think about.
So let me ask you, outside of Axie, what do you think are the next GameFi games that have the potential to be really big in the esports space?
So this is what I also think about a lot recently. We have seen a lot of games, and also we have tested and played a lot of games. I think in my mind, top of my mind, first would be Mice of Delania for me. Okay. The reason because I feel this game is kind of a chess game, which is a really skill-based game, which means you cannot just buy skins or buy items in game to win the game. You have to be really skillful as well. So that kind of things makes me reminded of the bigger games right now that we are playing, like League. like Dota, whereby you have to be 100% skilled to actually win the game. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think that's always kind of something that's in the esports space in general, right? People they really hate the idea of pay to win.
Yeah.
So the further away that games can get from that, and the more that they can focus on strategy based and gameplay, actual talent winning games is of course going to continue to drive and move the space forward. So do you have any other game?
Yeah, Macedonia, maybe what I would say, there was a game that, I won't say the name, but it's really similar to Rocket League.
Okay.
Rocket League is a really big game in traditional esports world, and they are building it. And I've tested the beta out, and it was pretty fun to play. Actually, like when they actually released the game, because like what I've learned so far is that the beta might be really different from the real game version, completed version. So yeah, when they actually like release the completed version, I'll show it to you guys.
Okay, cool. And one last question, what do you think about mobile when it comes to esports? Do you see mobile taking off a bit faster than desktop games? Because it seems that in GameFi, most of the market is right now focused on countries that are more mobile-based players. So do you see mobile taking off as kind of the leader for esports in GameFi, or do you see desktop still being the leader in the space?
Yeah, so I used to think that desktop was like the number one few years ago, but not right now anymore.
Okay.
I think mobile is constantly like taking over that spot.
Yeah.
But I would love to see the competition between desktop and mobile. I won't say like any games, any genre will be top one, desktop or mobile top one.
Yeah.
We see like the SEA Games recently hosted in Vietnam. We have like League of Legends play on PC, but they are also introducing some games play on mobile as well, like Wild Rift from League of Legends as well. So basically, like each of like desktop gaming and mobile gaming, they will have their own sort of community loyal to that. Like for me, I'm more of a PC player, but I won't say that a mobile game is not good. I always like have joy in playing any kind of games, and we have seen like teams building what we call gaming houses for mobile players. They just like having the mobile playing all day, like 12 hours long. Wow, just like amazing to see. And a lot of like people from different countries, when they come to Vietnam, they also see that these players in Vietnam actually like really good at skill, but not not trained carefully, not trained in a good way. So they come here to change that kind of mindset. And like we have the fundamental that I learned from Team Flash will be kids will never stop playing games. Kids will play games on PC, kids will play games on mobile, and that creates some sort of like different sectors from youth. And moving forward, we'll see like which game will suit you and just follow that. And nothing will be top one here. Both will compete against each other.
It all pushes the space and the market forward. So I think that's what's important. All right, cool. Thank you so much for answering those questions. I want to play a quick game with you, which we call underrated or overrated. So I'll just quickly ask you, do you think this topic is underrated or overrated? And you let me know, and then just a quick answer why. So it'll be like a 5 quick questions, all right? So the first question is, are esports in the GameFi space, are they currently underrated or overrated?
Heavily underrated.
Heavily underrated.
I would say, like the reasons that I talk about, like we talk about a lot about that recently. So
I would agree 100%. Are owning rare GameFi esports NFTs underrated or overrated?
This is a little bit tough. I think it would be not overrated or not even underrated.
Okay.
So basically, like owning rare skins is just like different people preferences. Like if you really like that art, you should own it. Why not, right? So basically, I don't think this is
in the middle on that one. All right, fair enough. And are live GameFi esports tournaments currently underrated or overrated?
I would say that underrated in general.
Yeah.
But for some tournaments, will be a little bit overrated.
Okay.
Because like for some Web3 games, we'll prefer to do it in the Web3 way. So why not doing it in the metaverse, perhaps?
Okay.
Yeah. So why creating a live tournament at a stadium? But I would also love to see that as well.
Yeah. Got that. Very cool. Is competing for governance tokens in tournaments underrated or overrated?
I haven't. Governance token here. For example, let's say XC. They're competing for access. Okay. So I would say this is underrated. This is something that I learned a lot from XC. That when they introduced the eSports program, so granting out these kind of governance token, and I think like games in the future, if they want to develop in the Web3 space, they should follow this path in terms of like eSport development.
Okay, very cool. And for the last question, I want to switch it up a little bit and ask you which current GameFi esport game is the most underrated in the market right now?
Still Axie Infinity.
Still Axie Infinity, most underrated.
To be honest. Because like when I started to play Axie Infinity, I didn't think that this game will be that, like the logic to understand the game behind is that complicated. So the more I learn about this game, the more I think about like, oh wow, so this genre is really, really cool because I didn't play a lot of card games before. I played more of like mobile games. And when I switched to card games, my first mindset was like, this game is so easy, but it's not that easy. It's really complicated, and it's like a lot of skills and knowledge behind that to actually understand and to master a game. So my answer would say Axie Infinity.
Okay, underrated. Would you want to give us an overrated game?
Overrated? No, I don't think. No. I will give an answer.
All right. No sleepers there. All right, awesome. Nathan, thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure having you on the first episode of GameFi. I'm wishing you a lot more success with the Ancient8 eSports, and hopefully we can bring you on at a later time for an update chat.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.